Good afternoon. Tara and I were talking in my office, and I said, I am so nervous. And I was thinking over the years how many young attorneys that I have sworn in during the time that I've been on the bench. And I see a lot of them in the audience, and I see a lot of them in the jury box. And I was just telling, because many of the individuals on the jury box are judges and lawyers, this is as close as you'll ever get to a jury, because any smart attorney would like any of you guys. But I am honored on behalf of my family that you're here. And I'm going to try to talk a little bit without getting emotional. It's going to be hard because there's some things I definitely want to say. Is that most of you know, George and I have 5 children, 4 daughters and George Jr., who was the baby. And during the time that he was a baby, I was working a lot, George was working a lot, and we had 2 older daughters, Lila and Lisa, who were there to help us. So in thinking about Georgie's journey to today, I want to say to them, the nights that you got up and Lila would hold him and feed him, she would get up with me and babysit, and Lisa would be there and they would pick him up. And then of course Nana, who's here, who would help at night to take care of all the children, and Debbie's here representing Miss Betty, who I think, well, we all think Miss Betty is Betty, and she's, we think of her as Georgie's Oliver grandmother. We love her, and she told me she wouldn't feel like coming today. There's just so many different people in the audience that's led to our family, extended family. So a lot of times we use the quote, we use it really freely sometimes, but it really does take a village to raise children. And there's so many people in this room. There's Bonnie, and there's Doris, and there's Misty and Jenny and his family members that helped, encouraged him. Whether he was playing sports or whether they would be mad at him and then he would get in trouble, and then when we tried to discipline, they'd take up for him anyway. So I used to tell him, hey, I know he's spoiled, but I had a lot of help from you older sisters in doing that. So there's so many people, and there's some people that's not here. We were talking about Ruby, and maybe George will talk a little bit more about her and my parents. And I was thinking about some older brothers that are not here, that adored him, that watched him play sports, and whether it's on ETC 3 or Uncle Glenn and Uncle Norman, and just were always there for him. And I know they would be so proud of him today. So I got out this pearl necklace that Norman and Glenn and Hank bought me in 1983 when I was sworn in as an attorney. And it's always meant a great deal to me, and I wanted to wear it today so that I could continue to feel their presence. You know, I was born in Whitestone, and Daddy had a huge 7th grade education, and Mother had 5th grade. And so, you know, thinking, well, how are these kids going to turn out? But we were very lucky in our family that a lot of us went on to college, and I became a lawyer and now judge. Same way in George's family. His mother raised children by herself. They went to school every day, didn't miss a day, and graduated high school and college. And it's really amazing that the 3 brothers, George being the oldest, and Jim and then John, each of their sons, all 3 are attorneys. So I think Miss Ruby would be very proud today. I know she would be very proud today. So there's just a lot of people in our lives that we love so much, and you're here. So many of you are in the room today. And so it's just made it even more special to all of us. And Judge Milam, I am so glad that you're here. When Judge Milam was our chief judge when I became a lawyer, and later on got to serve with him when I became a judge. And actually took me aside one day and said, Miss Weaver, you're a good lawyer. You need to start trying more cases by yourself. And I did.
So that one too.
I did. So I am so glad that you're here, because a lot of times we have the kids in the courtroom with us. when they were younger, because we wanted them to get to know the courtroom, and a lot of times all the kids would be there at different trials or setting in on different occasions. And I have our grandchildren here. And sometimes the good Lord just blesses you so much that you really don't know how to thank Him. Because I have our wonderful children, their spouses to be. We're just a big family, and luckily we just all love each other very much. And I'm really glad that my sisters, Lucy and Hazel, are here. And so many of our extended families, I indicated Doris and Bonnie and Sherry in the back, and Tanya's somewhere, and just lots of nieces and nephews that I love, and they've allowed me to boss them around throughout the years. They sort of got used to me doing that. But again, just thank you so much for being here. And for the judges, we have Judge Bradley, Judge Messina, Judge Wooster, Judge Wheeler, and Judge Lindsay, and Judge Cocker, and Judge Whittington, and Judge Morris. Just a bunch of you guys, and it's a lot of you guys I swore in as young attorneys years ago. So I'm honored that you would come. And Jeff has been a family friend for many, many years. Mary Lee makes us all cakes and makes us gain weight every year. But just thank you very much, very, very much for being here. And y'all hear my newest grandchild. And Mishy said, Mom, what are you going to do when she starts saying Papa and Georgie? I said, well, just let her say it. Just let her say it. And she's making a happy face right now. Going to turn it over to you, Big Daddy. And the scary thing about today, I want you judges to know, we had a very serious conversation this morning when George got sworn in to be a Superior Court judge today for us both to swear in George Jr. just like we did Jenny. And he couldn't decide if he wanted to put people in jail or how many people he wanted to release. So I said, that's something you might want to think about more during the day than just making that decision this morning. But does it scare anyone else in the room that
I took his pen away when I swore him in.
He took his pen. All right. All right. Your turn.
You're pointing at me after you stole all my lines?
Sorry, I do that every time.
You know, I am not accustomed to speaking to crowds and not like this. If I appear to be nervous because I don't ordinarily speak in public, and my daughter Misty, her biggest fear is saying something out loud in front of somebody else. So
thank you.
You're welcome. And she doesn't like to be pointed out. This is just a wonderful day for me. I've not been happy in years, and I think most of you can understand why. But the reason for my unhappiness is that for years I've been saying that Brenda and I were fourth. We are 4th and 5, and we're on our own 10-yard line. You know, this is bragging, but you know, our kids, and literally, you know, most of us know that me and Brenda came from either Whitestone or Marble Hill, and my mom went to the 6th grade, and 4 of us, we went to school perfect attendance with no excuse. We went. And out of that, our kids, I'm going to cry. I wouldn't do this except Georgie's the last one. So we got a 5th. I'm not sharing it with you because you probably all get drunk on that 5th, but he's the last of 5. And it's a really incredible moment. And I appreciate y'all coming here. And in front of all of you, come on. See if I can get this together. Right there, Bobby Milam, who became a judge here, the first judge. I've known him for 40 years. He is a person who I can say is a true Southern gentleman. He and I have fought. I've never heard him say one word of profanity. And he put up with me for 40 years. I want you to be like him. A man of your word. And never break it. And that's the only advice you will ever need. Thank you, Bill.
Now, the speech that I usually give to young attorneys, David Mincy says he can repeat it because it's the same one every time I give. But going along with what Judge Weaver just said today, that there's always lawyer jokes and attorney jokes, and a lot of times we deserve some of the remarks that we get made. But attorneys are truly the defenders of our Constitution, along with our brave soldiers who give their lives to defend that Constitution. And when you take this oath in a few minutes, and you swear to defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Georgia, then that is an oath before God. And you will also take an oath that you will be a member of this learned profession, and that you will do it honestly and justly. But that once you take a case, regardless of on how unpopular it may be in your community, that you've also taken an oath to represent that person to the very, very best of your ability, whether it be someone who's accused of the most heinous crime, or a business person that maybe has done a lot of things. You'll be a lot of cases in extreme, but the point is this: if you're going to take the oath today, and you take an oath before God, and then you combine it with the law, there is no more serious oath than you can take. And once you take that oath, you cannot break it. You have big shoes to fill in a lot of different ways. But even the judges, Judge Milam and Judge Messire and Judge Bradley and Judge Rooster and all the judges over there, no matter at times how angry I know they must get at Mr. Weaver, who is continuing to make objections and keeps them over time, the one thing I know they would say about him is that if he represents someone, he's going to represent them to the very best of his ability. And if that requires him doing things that may cause judges to be upset, that he's going to put his client first. And that's what we're all supposed to do. Once we take the oath, that's exactly what we're all supposed to do. So if you are willing to take that oath and to live with it, then I'm going to ask Mr. Weaver to give you the first oath.
By the way, this Bible I gave to Brenda years ago, and all the oaths that she's ever taken been on that. All right.
And the same Bible that Jenny was sworn in as an attorney.
Okay, buddy. Raise your right
Would you
hand.
lift him?
And I'll read the oath and just ask you to repeat your name, because I know you won't be able to say it all. You ready? I state your name.
I, George Leslie Beaver Jr.,
Swear that I will truly and honestly, justly and uprightly conduct myself as a member of this learned profession, and in accordance with the Georgia rules of professional conduct, and as an attorney and counselor, that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help me God.
I will.
When Justice Justice Robert Benham was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia. He felt like in the state of Georgia that lawyers were forgetting the oaths that they had taken years ago. And he wanted to instill in all lawyers a new sense of professionalism, to remember the oaths that they took, and to also remember why they actually wanted to become a lawyer. At that point in time, he asked judges throughout the state that in swearing in a new attorney, if they would also ask the attorneys to do a lawyer's pledge. We adopted that pledge many years ago, Judge Milam and myself. And so as I swear in each new attorney in this circuit, I also ask them to take the lawyer's pledge to be more professional. So at this time, if you would again place your hand on the Bible, you raise your right hand. As a lawyer practicing in the state of Georgia, I pledge to conduct myself in a manner that will reflect honor upon the legal profession. I will treat all participants in the legal process in the same manner as I would like to be treated. In every aspect of my practice, I will be honest, courteous, and fair. And so, do you so swear? Congratulations.
You want to use this pen or you bring your own? That's the attorney's oath. All right, I have one other thing I'd like to do. It started as a tradition with Jenny. Somewhere in my pocket, it's a dog. I want to offer you your first fee, and I want you to retain you as my employee.
We have an idea. I'm going to let you work for me.
The newest lawyer in the circuit.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
And by the way, your managing partner wants you to start working earlier in the office.